Hello, today I'm looking at Majjhima number 104, and this is entitled the Samagama Sutta. That's translated as at Samagana, and it's at the location of Samagama in the Sakyan country. And the persons mentioned are Chunda, who's a novice, the Venerable Ananda, who's a follower of Buddha, a main bhikkhu, and Buddha, and a person called Nigantha Nataputta. And Nigantha Nataputta is the leader of a different sect. I think today it's called the Jainism or Jain sect. Anyway, the sutta starts by describing what is happening after Nigantha Naputta's recent death at a place called Pava. And amongst Nigantha Nataputta's followers, there was much bitter dispute about interpreting Nigantha Nataputta's teachings. So things seem to have fallen apart upon his death. Now, having seen this happen, the novice Chunda went with the Venerable Ananda to see Buddha, worrying that the same divisions and rancor will occur with Buddha's teachings after Buddha's departure. And after the normal greetings, Buddha asks Ananda, "These things I have taught after directly knowing them." So Buddha's explaining why they shouldn't happen. So he explains about the four foundations of mindfulness, the four right kinds of striving, the four bases for spiritual power, the five faculties, the five powers, the seven enlightenment factors, and the Noble Eightfold Path. Now these are also covered in the previous Sutta 103, and also in Sutta 10. So Buddha asks, "Have you known any bhikkhus or monks who make differing assertions about these things?" Ananda agrees he has seen no dispute, but is concerned that after Buddha's passing, there may be disputes about the way bhikkhus or monks should conduct themselves, as presented in the Patimokkha. Buddha replies that such a dispute would be a trifling thing. So that's a dispute about the practice itself. The way the monks behave, according to the Patimokkha. But Buddha says a dispute about the Dhamma, the teachings, would cause much harm. So Buddha continues, there are 6 types of dispute. A bhikkhu is angry and resentful. Such a one is disrespectful and undeferential towards his teacher, the Dhamma and the Sangha, and does not follow the training. This would cause disputes and suffering in the Sangha. If you see anything like this starting up in yourself or others, strive to abandon it and change your practice so it does not reoccur and can be abandoned. There are also 5 other causes for dispute and harm, and they are: if a Buddha is angry and resentful, a Buddha is envious and avaricious, a bhikkhu. So I'll start that again. There's 5 other causes. Angry and resentful, envious and avaricious, fraudulent and deceitful, hold evil wishes and wrong view, adhere to his own views. So those are the causes of dispute, or types of dispute, should I say. Also, Buddha continues, there are 4 types of litigation. litigation because of a dispute, litigation because of an accusation, or because of an offence, or litigation about the proceedings. And of those litigations, there are 4 types of settlement, or kinds of settlement. Settlement by removing confrontation, on account of memory, on account of past insanity, acknowledgement of the offence, the opinion of the majority, the pronouncement of bad character, or by covering it over. So those are the 7 kinds of settlement of litigation. And then Buddha goes on to illustrate each type of settlement. So settlement by removal of litigation by confrontation. Where there is a dispute about the Dhamma or the discipline, here the bhikkhus should all meet and refer to the guidelines of the Dhamma and settle the dispute in accordance with the interpretation of the Dhamma. And then the litigation should be dropped. Now, if there is no agreement on the Dhamma's guidelines, then the disputant should go to a bigger group of bhikkhus, explain the problem, and follow the ruling of the majority's interpretation of the Dhamma. And this is how the litigation should be dropped, i.e. by majority agreement. Settlement of litigation on account of memory means that if the offender cannot remember the offence, then the litigation should be dropped. And settlement of litigation on account of past insanity, that even if the offender has forgotten the offence, when pressed as to why he has forgotten, the offender can claim temporary insanity. Then the litigation should be dropped. And then the settlement of litigation on account of acknowledgement of the offence. If the offender admits to the offence and agrees to practice restraint in the future, then the litigation should be dropped. And then the settlement on account of bad character. If the offender denies a grave offence, but being pressed admits to a minor offence, but then on being further pressed eventually admits to committing a grave offence, excusing this grave offence by saying he was joking or insane at the time, then there is pronouncement of bad character against the offender, and in this way the litigation is settled. Settlement by way of covering over. If the bhikkhus have taken to general quarrelling and deep dispute and done many improper things, then the wisest of the monks should call the Sangha together, then call upon each monk in turn to confess to his own and others' bad behaviours and move on from this. So in this case, the litigation can be dropped, except in the cases of serious bad behaviour that might lead to expulsion. Buddha then continues, there are 6 principles of cordiality that create love and respect, are conducive to cohesion and to concord. The first is physical gestures of loving kindness. The second is verbal acts of loving kindness. The third is mental acts of loving kindness. The fourth is enjoying things in common with companions that accord with the Dhamma. The fifth is living a virtuous life. And the sixth is to hold right view and practice to achieve the complete destruction of suffering. So, Ananda, Buddha concludes, undertake and maintain the 6 principles of cordiality. This will lead to your welfare and happiness for a long time. This is what the Blessed One said, and the Venerable Ananda was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. And that's the end of Majjhima number 106, the Samagama Sutta. Thanks for watching.